They say betrayal never comes from an enemy. It comes from the ones you trust the most. Imagine a husband working day and night to build the better life for his wife, only to return home and find her in the arms of someone he pays to serve them. This is the story of a marriage destroyed by secrets, lies, and temptation. Daniel was a hard-working man in his late 30s. He owned a small but growing business and was respected in his community. His wife, Clara, was beautiful, graceful, and to everyone else, the picture of a loyal wife. To outsiders, their marriage seemed perfect. They had a comfortable home, stability, and dreams for the future. But behind closed doors, Clara felt something was missing. Daniel, busy with work, spent less and less time at home. His late nights at the office left Clara lonely, craving attention and affection. One summer, Daniel decided to hire a young servant named Elias to help with household chores. He was humble, quiet, and hardworking. At first, he simply cleaned, cooked, and handled errands. But slowly, Clara began to notice him. It started with harmless conversations, simple thank yous, polite smiles. But loneliness can be dangerous. Soon, those small talks turned into longer conversations. She found herself laughing at his jokes, enjoying his company more than she should have. Elias was different from Daniel. He listened. He noticed her new dress, complimented her cooking, and offered a shoulder when she sighed in frustration. Clara began to feel something she hadn't felt in years: desired. One evening, rain poured heavily outside. Daniel had called to say he'd be late again. Clara sat in the living room, frustrated and abandoned. Elias entered to serve her tea, and their eyes locked for longer than they should have. That night, temptation broke the barrier of loyalty. Days turned into weeks. What started as stolen glances turned into stolen moments. Clara and Elias crossed a line that could never be undone. Behind Daniel's back, an affair was born. Every time Daniel left for work, the wife he trusted most was betraying him in his own home. Clara told herself it was harmless, that Daniel would never know. But guilt has a way of growing louder with each secret kiss, each whispered lie. Daniel wasn't a fool. He noticed the small changes: Clara's sudden glow, her distant attitude, her quick defense whenever Elias's name came up. The warmth in her voice when she spoke about the servant was not the same as before. One evening, Daniel came home earlier than expected. As he stepped inside, he heard hurried footsteps upstairs. Clara appeared, startled, claiming she had just been resting. But Daniel's instincts told him otherwise. Suspicion began to burn in his chest. A week later, Daniel decided to test his doubts. He pretended to leave for work early, but secretly returned. Quietly, he entered his home. His heart pounded as he approached the bedroom, and there it was, the betrayal he feared the most. His wife, in the arms of the servant he had welcomed into his home. The sight crushed him. His trust, his love, his years of sacrifice, all shattered in that single moment. Clara froze, her face pale with shame. Elias dropped to his knees, begging for forgiveness. But Daniel's silence was louder than any scream. That night, the house was filled with silence heavier than thunder. Clara tried to explain, tried to justify her loneliness, but Daniel's eyes held only pain. "Loneliness doesn't excuse betrayal," he whispered. He fired Elias immediately. As for Clara, Daniel couldn't look at her the same again. Love turned into heartbreak. Their once perfect marriage crumbled, leaving only bitterness and regret. Betrayal never stays hidden forever. Lies may provide temporary comfort, but the truth always finds its way out. Clara lost everything because she gave in to temptation instead of fighting for her marriage. Trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. This was the story of Daniel, Clara, and Elias, a story that reminds us that loyalty is more valuable than gold, because once trust is gone, love may never survive. So, what do you think? If you were Daniel, could you ever forgive?